It started as a wonky bookshelf and a bright idea. You see, I've travelled to some amazing places, from the Sahara Desert to the Arctic Circle. But when I'm home, bored and busy saving for that next big adventure, I want something more than just a couple of fridge magnets to remember them by. And so I took apart the bookshelf and I turned the idea into a plan. So I'm going to build one of these, a travel signpost. Well, this is just some popsicle sticks and a wooden spoon, but you get the idea. So let's get started. Step 1. Cutting. So I'm just using a CD case to mark a right angle for the point, and then an inverted point at the other end. I repeated this about 10 or 11 times until each line was done. I then marked and drilled the holes I'd use to screw them onto the post at the end. Step 2. Sanding. Not only did I sand the cuts and holes I just made, but I sanded the entire front of each line to remove the old and weathered look from the wood. Oh yeah, look at that. I can't believe how good it's coming up. So this is one that hasn't been sanded, and this is one that has, so you can clearly see the difference. And there we have it, the signs are cut and sanded, ready for painting. But first comes step 3, planning. The easy part is picking each location. Places I've visited, places I used to live, places where family live, or just anywhere that holds a personal significance to me. It gets a bit more creative for the next part. I need to find fonts for each location and choose their colours. For instance, for Loch Ness I've chosen quite a spooky, almost retro horror font, and for Paris quite a formal and I guess Parisian looking serif. And the colours mostly have some kind of relevance too. Marrakesh is a light terracotta, the colour that all the buildings within the city walls must be painted. And New York is a bright yellow, like the taxis there. I worked out the distances and directions using the measure distance function on Google Maps, and from this I could produce a map with all my chosen locations as a guide. With this ready, I could get started on step 4, painting. I printed each design, cut them out and traced over them with a pen, faintly scoring the outline of each letter into the wood. I then went over this with a pencil so it was easier to see. And now for the fun part. Step 5. Finishing. I elevated the signs using some old plastic cups and started the first coat of varnish on the front and sides. Now I'm an incredibly impatient person. I absolutely hate waiting for things. And with the painting step you can really see the progress. They're turning from these uninspiring planks of wood into colourful and creative finished designs, and I just wanted to put them up straight away. But instead, I had to apply the first coat of varnish, wait 8 hours, flip them over and do a coat on the back, wait another 8 hours, flip them over again and do a second coat on the front and sides, wait for another 8 hours, and then flip them over for a final time and do a second coat on the back, followed by yet another very long 8-hour wait. At least in the meantime I could get started on the next stage. Step 6. Cementing. First I dug a hole about 1.5 feet deep and just over 1 foot wide. I lined the bottom with some gravel for drainage, and then I propped the post upright against a chair for support and tied it there to keep it straight. The cement was actually pretty easy to use. The instructions just said to fill the hole about 1/3 with water and then add the cement on top and it would mix itself. I added a bit more water towards the end and smoothed out the surface. I also had to varnish the post, which was a lot easier than varnishing the signs.
Here we see the Burton Christopher in his natural habitat doing some DIY work. There we go, so the post is in and it's varnished.
Step 7. Attaching. This is the part where it all comes together and I finally get to put the signs on the post. I drilled boreholes for the screws as the post already had some splits in the wood and I didn't want to create any more. And then as I was screwing the very first sign in place, my electric screwdriver died.
Oh no, it's dead!
I guess in all the excitement it just completely slipped my mind to charge it. Luckily though, I did have another, this tiny little thing, which surprisingly was almost fully charged despite not having been used in well over a year. It started to rain as I was attaching the last couple of signs. I think that's become a theme with these videos now, the ending getting ruined by rain. But I suppose they're all up, they're all looking good. But the clouds began to clear by the afternoon, in time for the big reveal. And with the wood from the bookshelf that I hadn't used, I built a new run for the guinea pigs.